7 Levels of Jazz Saxophonists Explained. Level 1. Trash. The bottom of the barrel. Saxophonists who think that because they can play Careless Whisper at a wedding, they understand jazz. These are the guys who bought an alto sax, learned 3 scales, and now play smooth jazz at the farmer's market every Sunday morning, just running the same tired licks over a backing track.
Let's just move on to the next one.
You got the YouTube bedroom players making emotional sax solo videos where it's just them playing whole notes over a C major chord for 4 minutes with way too much reverb. Every note sounds the same. No dynamics, vibrato is non-existent. Then you have the corporate event saxophonists. You know the type, guy in a shiny suit playing Baker Street and just the two of us at every wedding and gala. They're not musicians, they're furniture that makes noise. Level 1 saxophonists have no concept of jazz language, no swing feel, and no business calling themselves jazz musicians. They're just people who own saxophones. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. More tier lists, more jazz content, more arguments in the comments. Let's go. Level 2. Bad. Unlike Level 1, these saxophonists can actually play their instrument. They know their arpeggios, they can read charts, but they have absolutely no idea what jazz actually is. Kenny G is the undisputed king of Level 2. Kenny G can play saxophone. He has incredible breath control. That's impressive as a party trick, but as jazz, it's insulting. Songbird isn't jazz. Going Home isn't jazz. It's elevator music with a saxophone. Pat Metheny destroyed him, saying his music is devoid of any creativity, intelligence, or musical interest.
Sometimes you say the word jazz and people think of some of the worst music on earth, like for instance Kenny G. I mean, you know, there's nothing more stupid than that. Let's face it, that's the dumbest music there ever could possibly be in the history of human beings.
Kenny G plays like someone who heard jazz once through a neighbor's window and decided to make a career out of that muffled sound. Candy Dulfer lives here too. Lily Was Here had some success in the 90s, but it's just funk pop with a saxophone solo, not jazz. Smooth jazz radio saxophonists in general belong at Level 2. Dave Koz, Richard Elliott, Boney James, they're all technically proficient players making music designed to not offend anyone. It's background music. Level 2 saxophonists lack any understanding of jazz as an art form. They treat the saxophone like a tool for making pleasant sounds, not for expression, innovation, or communication. Level 3. Mid. Real mid. Competent jazz saxophonists who can hang on a gig but will never push the music forward. Session players who show up, play the changes correctly, never make a mistake, and never take a risk. Technically solid but creatively bankrupt. College jazz professors who can teach you theory but haven't had an original music idea in decades. They play everything correctly but nothing sounds alive. David Sanborn is Level 3. Iconic tone, that biting aggressive alto sound, influenced the generation of smooth rock and R&B saxophonists. But listen to his solos. They're mostly repetitive blues licks with that distinctive tone carrying all the weight. Tone isn't enough to make you great. Contemporary straight-ahead players who copy Coltrane or Parker note for note without adding anything new. They're human transcription machines. Level 3 saxophonists are professionals. They make a living, but they're not moving the music forward. They're just maintaining it. Level 4. Okay, now we're getting into players people actually defend. These are elevated mid-saxophonists with real skill and moments of brilliance, but missing something that would make them legendary. Branford Marsalis is the perfect Level 4 example. Incredible technique. He can play bebop, he can play avant-garde, he can play classical. He's done everything from leading the Tonight Show band to playing on Sting records. But what's his voice? What does Branford bring that's uniquely his? He's a chameleon, which is impressive, but it also means he lacks a defining artistic identity. He's great at everything, but not the best at anything. Joe Henderson is Level 4. Hugely influential. Inner Urge is a modern jazz standard. His playing on Mode for Joe is excellent, but compared to the absolute giants of tenor sax, Henderson feels like he's always just outside the conversation. Respected by musicians, unknown to most casual jazz fans. Dexter Gordon is Level 4. Beautiful tone, master of bebop language. Go is a classic album, but Dexter was more about refinement than innovation. He perfected a style others created. Joshua Redman has been hyped as the next great tenor saxophonist since the 90s, and he's good, really good. But has he delivered on that promise? He's made solid albums, but none of them are essential. Level 4 saxophonists are genuinely talented. Some of them are even your favorites, but they all have limitations that keep them from greatness. Level 5. Good. Everyone from this level on is a master. Whether you love them or hate them, their skill is undeniable. Stan Getz sits at level 5. The girl from Ipanema made him a household name. His tone on focus is gorgeous. He brought Brazilian music to American jazz audiences. He's one of the most recorded saxophonists in history. But Stan Getz was limited in range. He played beautifully, but he didn't push boundaries. He stayed in his lane. Cool, melodic, accessible. Sonny Rollins is level 5. Saxophone Colossus is one of the greatest jazz albums ever. St. Thomas is an eternal standard. His live albums are incredible. He practiced on the Williamsburg Bridge for years just to get better. But Rollins' recorded output is wildly inconsistent. He's a legendary improviser whose studio work doesn't always capture his genius. Cannonball Adderley is here. Incredible alto player. Something Else with Miles is a masterpiece. Mercy 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 was a hit, but Cannonball was always in someone else's shadow. Miles, Coltrane, Bird. Lester Young invented cool jazz saxophone. His playing with Count Basie was revolutionary. He influenced everyone from Stan Getz to Coltrane. Lester Leaps In is essential, but his innovations were built upon and surpassed by players who came after him. Level 5 players are masters who shaped jazz saxophone. They influenced generations, but they're missing that final element that would make them level 6. Level 6. Great. Now we're talking about players who didn't just play jazz, they redefined jazz saxophone. Wayne Shorter is the perfect level 6 saxophonist. Miles Davis Quintet, Weather Report, his own incredible albums like Speak No Evil and Juju. He wrote dozens of jazz standards. His compositions are as important as his playing. Wayne Shorter's improvisations were unpredictable, colorful, emotionally complex. He never played the obvious choice. Every solo was a journey into the unknown. Ornette Coleman sits at level 6. He invented free jazz. The shape of jazz to come literally changed what jazz could be. No chord changes, pure melodic and rhythmic improvisation. His plastic alto sax became iconic. Ornette Coleman was so far ahead that decades passed before people realized he was right. Art Pepper is level 6. West Coast cool jazz at its finest. Art Pepper Meets the Rhythm section is one of the greatest jazz albums ever recorded. He showed up, hadn't played with the rhythm section before, and just destroyed. His playing was emotional, vulnerable, and technically flawless. Ben Webster defined the big, warm tenor saxophone sound. His ballad playing was second to none. Chelsea Bridge and Cottontail showcase his range, from tender to swinging. He influenced every tenor player who wanted to make the saxophone sing. Level 6 saxophonists are innovators. They changed the vocabulary of jazz. They created sounds and styles that didn't exist before. Level 7. GOAT. GOAT jazz saxophonists are untouchable. They're the foundation of modern jazz. In 100 years, when people study jazz saxophone, these are the only names that matter. Charlie Parker. Bird. The origin point of modern jazz. Coco, ornithology, confirmation, anthropology. He invented bebop. He took jazz from swing to something faster, more complex, more demanding. Bird could play 300 notes in a chorus and every single one would be perfect. His harmonic knowledge was so advanced that musicians are still studying his solos 70 years later. Without Charlie Parker, modern jazz doesn't exist. John Coltrane. Train. Giant Steps, A Love Supreme, My Favorite Things, Impressions. He took bebop and pushed it into spiritual transcendence. His sheets of sound technique. His harmonic innovations. His relentless practice schedule. He practiced 8 hours a day, every day. Coltrane could play anything. Bebop, modal, free jazz, ballads. His intensity on Chasing the Train will blow your mind. He's the most influential saxophonist after Bird. Coleman Hawkins. He invented the jazz tenor saxophone. Before Hawkins, the tenor sax was considered a novelty instrument. His 1939 recording of Body and Soul established the tenor as a serious jazz voice. Every tenor player since Hawkins is standing on his shoulders. Johnny Hodges. Duke Ellington's lead alto for 40 years. The most beautiful alto tone ever recorded. Passion Flower, Jeep's Blues, Things Ain't What They Used to Be. His sound was silk. Johnny Hodges influenced everyone from Charlie Parker to John Coltrane. He invented the language of lyrical alto playing. Level 7 saxophonists aren't just great, they're mythological. They invented the language we still speak. Their innovations are the foundation. They're immortal. If you want to understand what makes jazz saxophone so powerful, start with these players. You'll get it soon enough. But if you're already a jazz fan, it's time to find out what kind of fan you are. There are 7 types, and you're certainly one of them. If you've made it this far, subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment telling me which saxophonist I got completely wrong, and why Rollins should be level 7. More tier lists coming soon. Hit that button. I'll see you in the next one.